few weeks ago, I bought some amazing plants to add to my collection. Some of them are doing really well, some of them are testing my patience, and some of them have made me question my life choices. So today, let's have a look at how some of these new additions are doing. Hi, my name is Memo, this is my channel, Houseplantyggoodness, and essentially it's a place where I like to geek out about my big passion. You might be able to see some of it behind me, it's tropical houseplants. So yes, it does frustrate me as well sometimes, I know it does with you, where some people will kind of unbox plants or show plants that they've just got and then you see nothing of them again. So consider this your update video, how some of these plants are doing, what the challenges have been since I've got them into my care. Do I still like them? Do I still think they are worth it? But yeah, in essence, I'm going to be giving you an honest update in terms of how things are doing from my recent Grow Tropical order and a few orders back as well, because I've got a few plants that I've added in over the last few weeks or months that maybe you need a bit of an update from just to see how things are going, in case it sways your opinion about certain plants. So without further ado, let's dive into it. So let's start with the plant that everybody liked on the Grow Tropicals kind of unboxing that I did recently, and I'll kind of link it at the top somewhere, and you can kind of have a look at that as well. But yeah, this one, it's okay. It's okay. Frustrating for two reasons. Frustration number one. The oldest leaf started going red. And I'm just like, why is it going red? I had like a heat wave. The UK had a substantial heat wave where I think we pretty much within a stretch of a couple of days went from like 15, 16 degrees Celsius to 33 degrees Celsius. I cannot tell you how much watering I had to do in this space. So yes, I thought maybe I'd overwatered it because it was going red. What I'm noticing now is that this is just going dry, so essentially it's just going to reject. So the good thing is it's not root rot, because that was my biggest concern. Now the original leaf is still, this might end up being the thumbnail, oh my god. Stunning. Has my opinion changed on the Queen of Hearts Anthurium? No, it hasn't. It hasn't. I still think it's stunning. Hopefully it will continue to impress me. Now, problem number two. You know, a lot of people liked this plant. Apparently so does the slugs in this space. Because remember, there was a new leaf that I'm about to show you. New leaf. New leaf. New leaf. You might also notice some blue things at the top of the soil. For anybody that's going to ask, these are the slug pellets that are allowed in the UK, so I'm assuming they're not as harmful. They do work on occasion, I find. Not something that I ever thought I was going to be using in my conservatory rather than in my garden or allotment on an occasion. Yes, I could have gone down the nematode route, but I don't know which plants have got the slugs. I can only deal with them as and when they come in. I have heard there is beer in different places. It hasn't caught anything yet. The reality is I think there's only maybe 1 or 2 slugs in this space because there's not very much for them to eat. However, they seem to have an affinity towards young and emerging Anthurium leaves, just to piss me the off, basically. So yeah, the little fucker as well. I came in here on an evening because like usually I close up the space, I make sure that the fans are off, the lights are off and all these things before I go to bed every night. I don't know why that evening I decided, I'm just like, let's just go into the conservatory properly. And I just thought, and I saw something that I thought was dust there and I just went, scratch, scratch, and I was like, oh no, you're the slug. So I'm just like, and annoyingly I dropped it because otherwise, because I might be cruel, but I don't care. Slugs are the enemy. I do have a little bucket of just salt. So every time I see a slug that I can actually grab, most of the time I'll use tongs, because a lot of things don't ick me out, but the sliminess of a slug. So I just dump them in a bucket of salt and watch them. Cruel, I know, I don't care. But yes, it is sizing up. It is sizing up. This is what the new leaf looks like. Again, I don't know if this is getting too much light, but the only way to me to find out if it's getting too much light in my space is to leave it where it is and judge it accordingly, and then I can move it to a slightly lower light location. I know a lot of people said it doesn't need as bright light because the darker leaves. I mean, oh, this is reading so well on the camera. Oh. Hopefully he does in editing as well. This is so nice and pretty. And annoyingly, this will eventually darken up, I would imagine. It'll just have holes in it. But yes. Update on the Queen of Hearts. Let's keep the theme of Anthuriums going for just a tiny bit longer. The Anthurium clarinervium. I haven't killed it yet. How proud of me are you at this particular moment in time? Because I've killed so many clarinerviums. So the Anthurium clarinervium with a new leaf. So the net pot is helping. Net pot is helping. So it's been a very short period of time. So do not take my word as gospel. I mean, generally don't take my word as gospel. Everybody has their own experiences, their own conditions. Sorry. You know me and the caveats. But yes, so far, as an overwaterer, as a self-proclaimed and self-aware overwaterer, for an Anthurium that does not do well with overwatering, an Anthurium soil mix, so this is Soil Ninja's Anthurium soil mix, with a net pot, wonders, doing absolutely beautiful. So yes, Anthurium clarinervium probably won't come to a shock to anybody who can grow these really well. But for me, this is huge. I got a new leaf. It's doing okay. I'm enjoying the clarinervium. So far, worth it. In this format, worth it. And how about a sad little update? So this, my Anthurium wendlingeri, it's in a net pot now. It's great, it's loving life. The roots are really, really happy. However, it's in a net pot with a really light and airy Anthurium soil mix, which means, this is wet now because it's got watered yesterday, but which means very quickly when it dries out, this weighs nothing. And can you assume what's happened? This one leaf on this side, two leaf on this side, all the other leaves on this side. There was more leaves. There was more leaves. Because of course, when this ill shit falls off the shelf, it will land invariably on a stiff leaf petiole and snap the leaf. So I've got one petiole there, 2, 3. Is there another one? Might be a fourth one as well. Do I still think it's worth it? Yes. Do I wish I had a better place for it? Also yes. Like, this is how you can see that it's not just janky support sticks. I've got literally one of those metal, kind of plastic coated metal plant ties, and I have anchored it on either side of the plant to keep this damn plant in the damn soil. Because that's the other thing. Sometimes the whole plant will just yeet itself out of the pot. Same issue, by the way, for most, like the larger these kind of pendant leaf anthuriums get, the more of a chance there is you don't even want to know how many of those plant ties are on the Veterifolium behind me. It doesn't look great, but it keeps the plant in, and that's in pon, so that's in a heavy substrate as well. That substrate, even with the pon, it will still want to throw itself out, so I have literally taken more of those metal plant ties and tied it onto the metal shelf so it cannot physically move. So yes, sorry, this is a plant from a while back, but I thought I'd share this with you in case you have the same problems. You're not the only one. And this is what I'm doing to like solve the problem, basically. So I still need to anchor this to the shelf. That's the next move, but I need to move this somewhere that is going to be easier for me to do it. Where it is at the moment is not great. But do I still think this is worth it many months later? Yes, 100%. Still loving the wendlingeri. Still no bloom, by the way. You would have known if there was a bloom. Yes, yes, you would have known if there was a bloom. How about a plant that you have not seen me unbox? So this is going to be its first appearance. But I did purchase this recently, like a couple of 2-3 weeks ago now. A new Hoya callistophylla. So, reasons for this. This plant, I had another one, really thick stems, really succulent leaves. These have never got particularly succulent for some reason, I don't know why. And it died. I hadn't realized it died because leaves were still turgid, there was absolutely zero roots, and I wasn't planning to reroot that. So, I found this in my local garden centre, the plant shop that I usually buy some things around here that always has like really interesting plants that's not like your bog standard kind of plants. And this was cheap. I think this entire pot was £7, 7 Great British pounds, not bad at all. So a little experiment for me with this one, because usually with my Hoyas, I try to move them into substrates that I like and different pots and all these things and get them in highlight. So I've not done any of that this time around. Same pot, same substrate. So this is in pretty much what looks like a slightly airier, but predominantly cocoa coir growing media. And I've put it in here. I don't have any Hoyas in here. I've put it in here. So this gets bright indirect light rather than bright light, which most of my other Hoyas are getting. So this is not sun stressing. And I was going to say, I don't think there's any new leaves, but I can actually see a couple of new leaves on this. So far, so good. This is very heavy and this is very wet at the moment. But I have the impression that the mistake I was making with the other one was that it wasn't staying wet enough, because I got the leaves to be quite succulent and thick. And I don't know if that's how they're meant to be. These, all of them, ever since the day that I bought it, yes, they're slightly cardboardy and they're slightly on the thick side, but they're not thick. The other one was thick. So I don't know if this is how this is supposed to grow. Anybody that grows the Hoya callistophylla successfully, shout out down below in the comments what you do to keep it successful. So yes, a little update about a plant that you didn't even know that I owned, but you do now. And some of you that are into your orchids, because I know it's not for everybody, I might be wondering how the Bulbophyllums are doing. So they are both doing well. Both, I've put them into net pots, and I'm trying something new this year because I could never find it either A, affordable, or B, easily available, which was tree fern fiber. So this is a mix, these are both in a mix of tree fern fiber, sphagnum moss, orchid bark, and some perlite, as well as being in this, because they do like to be evenly moist. Can I see a show of hands down below in the comments on how fucking annoying it is when plant advice tells you it needs to be evenly moist, and it's just like, gee, thanks. It's so easy to achieve without rotting a damn plant out. But yes, evenly moist, but still airy. This is the best I can come up with. And from what I've seen online, this is what a lot of people will do. Now, the interesting thing is, there's not an awful lot of movement on the plant, because when I did take these out and have a look at their roots, the capitatum, so this one, the slightly larger one, had slightly better roots. This one didn't have too many roots, but it's also quite a diminutive plant, so I was a bit worried. But what you might notice right there is there's a new little bulblet or pseudobulb that is starting off with a new leaf. So this is a consinum. Consinum? Yeah. So both are doing quite well. Problem with, like, I would imagine the reason why most people don't get a lot of updates on Bulbophyllums is that they don't grow particularly fast. At least they don't in my conditions. I would imagine if you're living somewhere that's closer to their natural environment, yours might grow a bit faster. But, oh, actually, no. That's why I love making these videos as well, because I notice things as well. There is a tiny little bit, like, you're not going to be able to see this. I'll see if I can get a picture and add it somewhere on the video. There is a tiny little plantlet or bulblet, pseudobulb, that is starting on the side of this as well. So yeah, they're doing okay too. And again, another plant that you've probably not seen, but I have purchased recently. And I think this will probably come out as a Sunday video, and the other video, so you probably, if you've seen the Thursday video, you might already be aware of what I'm about to show now. For my Dirty Little Plant Secrets video. If that hasn't come out yet, that's the next video. My Dirty Little Plant Secret, or Confessions, essentially. So you know how I said that I wasn't going to buy again, because I failed twice, and obviously I cannot grow it, the Philodendron Snowdrift. Attempt 3 or 4. I'm not entirely sure what attempt I'm on now, but better light conditions. I put it close to Barina LED strip light bulb thing. Seems to be liking life. I've only just realized how thin the roots are. So this is in a very airy, but not super airy, if that makes sense, soil mix in a net pot. But oh, I love these when they come in. By the way, this plant and this pot might be a tiny bit too big for the roots that's in here. This was sold in straight up coco coir in a plant pot that was about 5 times bigger than this. And they're just, I don't understand why it died. I tried all the right things, and it's just like, if the plant was f***ed from the grower or the plant shop itself, it's not your fault. Again, not your fault, because sometimes plant might look fine at the point of purchase, but there's so much damage, especially with plants that are more sensitive, that, yeah, you can't grow them basically. But this is doing well. I'm seeing a lot more of this greeniness that's happening, which is good. I don't know if that's because the light levels are high enough. I'm seeing some more darkening of the tiniest bit of green on these leaves, but also more importantly, a new leaf. That was not there when I purchased it. That has grown in my care in a couple of weeks. So, fingers crossed, this, I don't want to jinx it. Let's see how long it lasts, shall we? Let's see how long it lasts. That's the best that I could do with this one. It's a shame because this is the largest one I have found so far, and it was relatively cheap. I can't remember exactly how much I bought it. Maybe 10 or 12 pounds. It's expensive for what it is. But like considering how much more I'd paid for the tiniest little thing of this, and they don't grow particularly fast at all, I thought, you know what? Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. So, wish me luck. Or tell me how much of an idiot I am for trying this again. Either one works. It's fine. You will know the plant that I'm leaving to last, because it's another plant from that original Grow Tropicals purchase that everybody's just like, oh, can you let me know how that goes? I'm thinking of buying it, or I have just bought it. So that is coming. That's going to be last on the list. But I've got another little update. So the gifted plant. So this was this is Monstera Thai Constellation. So this was a leaf that it was still growing in, and it was not hardened off, and I don't think it's fully hardened off yet anyway. And my big one upstairs in the gym in the office, so I don't know if you can see, that was probably its oldest leaf, is tiny, has kind of yellowed off and it's come off. Now, again, remember what I was talking about before? There was that issue with the heat wave that was happening. It's got colder now, so we're about 19, 20 degrees, and it's been raining and cloudy and windy for days now. And I think it's going to be like that for the next few days as well. So, yes, this is doing okay for now. My other big one, sorry, didn't finish my sentence because the people that have been here for a while, they know. That's in pon, in semi-hydro, because I knew that it would rot out super quickly, much faster than most of my other variegated monsteras. So that is in pon. It never has a reservoir, and it just gets watered in pon, and I let it fully dry out, and then it gets watered. It's slower, even more so than it would be under normal circumstances, and these are not fast plants, but I have some guarantees there. I had originally grown it in soil, and I think at some point it struggled with that. So far, from what I can see from the roots, they're doing okay. Nothing is rotting yet, touch wood. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, because this isn't a plant that I specifically would have chosen to add to my collection, I thought let's try a bit of an experiment and see if I can grow it in a more traditional way, as in within a soil mix, but obviously within a net pot. So the soil mix for this is Soil Ninja's Anthurium soil mix, because I wanted to be as airy as possible, and it's also in a net pot. So far, so good. This has not been in the collection for that long yet, but so far, so good. This was making me nervous because I was having to water it quite frequently within the heat wave, but I'm just like, I'm pushing you as far as I'm comfortable pushing you into dryness before watering you, especially considering that this space in here, the humidity, because I had to open up windows because otherwise it would turn into an oven in here and I would have bigger issues with all of these plants. But the humidity was dropping down during the day. It would climb up considerably during the evenings, but it would drop down during the day to like 30, 40 degrees, 30 to 40% humidity, which is really low for this space because normally I'm at 70 or 80. It's not great. But the bigger issue is that this space was getting up to 37, 38 degrees Celsius for a good few hours. So I'm just like, I can only push you all so far before I actually need to water you. So yeah, so far, so good. Now we move on to the boring plants. You know who you are with that comment, but you're not wrong. This is the neon. The neon, I think is another word for it. It's golden something basically, but the neon China doll. Got the new growth. This impressed me even more than what I thought it was going to be. So I've got it in, I think, an east-facing window. So the leaves are going slightly darker. These are not as dark as the traditional China doll is. Also, for the people that mentioned on the previous video that these leaves look really big for a China doll, I agree with you, Philly. I quite liked my other one because the leaves were so dainty. Like, they weren't much bigger than what these leaves are, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen. There's already another growth point in the middle that's about to happen on that one. But look at the damn color. That is insane. And it came in more yellow than it is now, and it's going that neon green slowly now, but I am so happy with this. I did put it in a clear pot. I didn't add any more soil to it just purely because I want to see its roots. And the roots are doing great. Hopefully you might be able to see. The roots are doing great. This is a plant that I do remember. This is one that I don't ever really want to let it go fully dry. And I'm doing the same thing that I did with my previous China doll plant, and it seems to be loving life. This I'm really happy with about still. Now, how about the Alocasia? The Alocasia, the replacement Alocasia Lukiwan, so this was the leaf that it came with that was kind of hardening off, and some of the older ones. And look, already I'm on to the next leaf after this one, and at the moment it doesn't seem to be massively rejecting any of the lower leaves just yet. I haven't messed with its roots. I've left it in the same soil that it came with and in the same pot. Would I like this in a clear pot? Yes. But I'm fighting my instincts with this one and not stressing the plant out. Because remember I said that on my Alocasia video, stress stacking is a thing. And this had already been shipped. I don't want to be adding any more to it for at least another month or two. And we're fine, it's a less risky time of the year. But I have moved this to another location because my big Begonia brevirumosa exotica does the thing that it does every year, which is it died. Turned to mush at some point. It used to get too dry at this time of the year because it was too big, and then I'd wet it, and then it stays for too wet for too long, and eventually it turns into mush. This is like a cyclical thing in my space. So the new one has started off. I usually, when it starts getting too big, I'll take a couple of leaves and put them back into the original propagation box, which still has some of the original cuttings that are no longer cuttings, rooting in, and it then means that when that dies, I just take up one of the rooted cuttings, pot it up again, and then the whole cycle begins again. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It's like a thing that happens. But yes, this is doing really, really well. For the person on that original unboxing video that pretty much made a pun about this, A, absolutely amazing, love it. That also is now its name. So somebody was saying that because this was my second one, because my first one was dying, it's no longer a Lukiwan, it's a Luki2. So this is the Luki2. The Lukiwan is still upstairs. It's probably going to end up in the compost soon because I don't think it's going to do what I need it to do. But this will forever be the Luki2, basically. But yeah, doing relatively well, actually. And it's interesting because it's been a while since I've really loved the look of an Alocasia. And it's interesting because I don't know if you remember from that original unboxing, this was a plant that I never purchased. This was the equivalent of the Thai Constellation that came as a gift with a purchase the previous year. And I would have never have bought that, but actually, I really like it. I really like it. So yeah, this is doing okay. Doing okay. Doing okay. I'm not gonna fuss it and I'm not gonna shake it around too much because I got told off last time. Fair enough, fair enough. Right, shall we finish with a bang? This was last on the unboxing, this is last on the update as well, because again, people wanted to know. Ta-da! So, the Banana Florida, or the Musa Florida. So I remember this is the one that was a bit on the limp side, because it had a slight bend in the petiole. I've put a bit of like plant dye there, and it's keeping it together. That has not rejected yet. So one of the original leaves, another one of the original leaves, as was this. This, however, is this new leaf that it fully unfurled in my care. It's slightly smaller than the other one, so I don't know what's happening there. But I've put it in a clear pot. I've given it a smaller pot so I can also see the roots, because I know that there's a propensity for this to go towards root rot, but it's also a damn banana. I have grown bananas before, they grow like the clappers. This very quickly is now getting watered once every 2 days if it's super hot, or every 3 days. That should tell you something. But something I noticed yesterday, this newest leaf was just peeking up down there yesterday. It's now grown all of this. I love bananas for that. Bananas, you don't have to go for a variegated one because I know they're expensive, and I also know that the variegation is not for everybody. I also know that some people are just like, why the hell would you want to grow a fruit tree in essence in your house? I hear you. But for the people that want an instant quick win plant that gets quite large, you might then need to give it to somebody, and if you don't have a garden to put it in, but get a banana. I grew a banana. One of my first plants when I was first starting to get back into the hobby was a banana. It grew like the damn clappers. Does wonderful things for your light ego. It's just like, look, I've managed to keep it happy. By and large, as long as you give it decent levels of light, well, at least that was my experience. I don't know if it's going to be the same for everybody, but I don't know. I think there's some variegation happening on this. There's a tiniest bit of variegation down at the bottom of this. There's definitely some of that kind of lighter leaves here, but I'm not getting this level of variegation that I'm getting on some of these other leaves on that first leaf. Might be shipping stress. This one doesn't look like it's got much more, so I don't know. If you do have a variegated banana, I'm assuming the variegation is unstable, and I'm assuming it can revert. Have you ever had yours start to revert, and how do you fix that? Because with other, like Monstera alba or anything like that, you cut it back down to the most variegated node and then hope that the variegation comes back again. But how would you do that with a pseudobulb? I don't know. Is it like it's reverted, wah wah, it's now reverted, sorry? Or is there something else that you could do? I don't know. I'm not going to be chopping it up just yet, but so far, so good, so good. I am surprised. I know a lot of people on that video were just like, why do you think you're going to kill a banana? Banana is like almost unkillable. I'm just like, I know that. But the variegated ones I know have a propensity towards root rot. I am, even in this space, getting some browning on the whites here. But I'm okay with that. I know that that's the case with a lot of the like white variegated plants or the white variegated sections. It will happen basically. So I also don't, I was sitting there looking at this going, oh, is this going to like enlarge and like swell up like with Anthurium leaves? But I don't think this will. I think this is it for this one. This one feels like it's going to be a bigger leaf. So it might have just been a little tiny leaf because of like shipping and all that stuff. But so far, it is loving life, and it's literally it's living where I said it was going to live. So right here, there's a table, usually in front of where I would normally film, because today, different background. So it gets the most amount of light coming in from the conservatory, and because there's a fan blowing around it, and it's one of these clear pots that's got loads of holes around it, it's also getting some aeration that's going near the pot. That might also be why I'm having to water it as frequently as I am during the warmer times of the year, times of the month, because of heat waves. But I'd rather do that. This has never gone bone dry, and generally you don't want to let a banana go bone dry. So yeah, I think that is the entire update. Let me know which one's your favorite down below, if your favorite has changed since the unboxing. And let me know if you want a bigger update on some of these further down the line, because some of these feel like they're going to have a story that's going to unfold with some of them. I'm thinking the banana, and I'm thinking the Queen of Hearts as well. But they don't have to be those, by the way. Those are my assumptions. But do let me know down below which ones you'd like to hear more about in the future, and I can kind of give you updates as we go along. But yes, hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully I shall see you here soon, and I truly, truly hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.